Hi there, my name's Phil Weimer. I'm your teacher, and I'm going to go through a short presentation on how to write to pass a functional skill and GCSE. So, first things first, you need to write 4 paragraphs. That's not that hard. 4 or 5, as you can see at the bottom, if you look on the right-hand side, I've got a one-sentence paragraph with ellipses, more later. You can use discourse markers. That would be things like firstly, secondly, comma, thirdly, comma, finally, comma, moreover, comma, in addition, comma. So think about that one. Right, all the way across the page, you'll see that when I've written the 4 paragraphs, they all go across, and I've left a line in between each paragraph. Check your spelling, punctuation, and grammar. You need capital letters at the beginning of every sentence and full stops at the end. And a sentence should have a maximum of around 12 words. Short sentences are fine. This is disgraceful. Full stop is very powerful. Oh, what is disgraceful? It catches attention. This is disgraceful. You were late last week, and no, it loses it. So short sentences and mixing them up, and they put that in the criteria. They like to mix it up. So when you write a story, do you need to start a certain way? Which one of these? If you want to stop this and have a quick read, be an activity for you if you want to. There are 3 boxes. Which one goes first? Which one will go second? And which one goes third? The answer is, doesn't matter. You could start with any one of these. You could start with, excuse me, the young man said, is there a fairly cheap hotel not far away? So where is he? He's in a hotel. Try the Dragon and Bell, the porter answered, some point down the road. They might take you in. It's about a 1/4 mile long and on the other side. New paragraph, Billy was 17. So you tell me where Billy was. Or you go, Billy Weaver travelled down from London. Doesn't matter. Put those paragraphs in any order and it all makes sense. So rule number 1, doesn't matter where you start, the middle and end, as long as you have a plan. Okay, so as I've said, a paragraph usually has around 4 sentences. You don't have to indent, move it in with the first letters. Mix up long and short sentences. Don't use more than 12 words in a sentence. Short sentences are powerful, and you need about 4 paragraphs to pass. When writing a story, it's important to use ambitious vocabulary. Stunning instead of nice, awful instead of bad. There are more bad emotions than good. I think it's like 6 to 1 or something like that. So there are more negative than positive words. So that makes it easier to write about bad issues because there's more emotion involved. So try and write about maybe a bad issue, someone leaving, death, destruction. A sad day is easier to write than a happy day. And try and write about a few minutes, not days and weeks. Imagine watching a film, you're talking about 5 minutes, not anymore. If you do longer, it'll get boring and it won't hang together. Writing's worth 50% for GCSE. So it's worth spending time planning it. One of the main reasons students fail, you don't plan your paragraphs. So I've done an example in a moment. This means they don't have enough time they do not have enough to say, or they mix up issues. So I'm writing a short article or a speech about banning cars from city centres. So I think, I don't want time to plan. I'm going to write. Cars should be banned from city centres because it will mean more kids can play, full stop. It will mean there will be more trees, and it will mean there will be more businesses who will sell more coffee and so on. Well, that's all well and good. And every single thing I've said there is fine. But you know what? I've put all of my big ideas that I could have expanded upon and written more about in the first paragraph. So what am I going to do now? So if you don't plan, you're stupid. You're going to work harder. It's not going to read as well, and you're less likely to get a higher mark. So let's imagine we get a picture of an old man, which they did as a GCSE some time ago. And I'm going to say, right, I'm going to imagine his wife has died and he's lonely. So there you go, loneliness. So my plan would be paragraph, the character looking out the window. I'd talk about his eyes. I would make sure I went in there knowing that I've got, jet blue piercing eyes stared out of the window. He's wrinkled, gnarled, weathered skin from many years at sea or whatever. I might talk about his unkempt tartan shirt that his wife had bought him that he hadn't washed for over a week, and he could smell. He needed to do something about it. So I'm not looking after myself. This fits in with my wife dying and so on, which is or his wife dying, which is the premise. A flashback to a happy time with the wife. Talk about the beach. Easy to describe beaches, sun, sea, sand. You can do all that kind of stuff. That's a flashback to a happier time on the beach. Then you could do the day she died, talk about the funeral, talk about the empty rooms, the reminders, all the people who went to it. Then talk about back to the present. He walks into the kitchen, describe it as run down, and I make a tea. At some point, having described the kitchen, which is obviously a bit of a mess, I will put my head in his hands and I whisper to myself, maybe it's time to join her. That's the ending, that one sentence paragraph with ellipses. So it could just as easily be he sighed and walked towards the cliff. He sighed and thought, I wonder if it'll be different tomorrow. Just do a little sentence with maybe with some speech marks to get more marks in to answer that question. Hope you've enjoyed that. Hope you find it useful, and you now need to produce some work like that. Thank you very much.